This is video 4 in the MinuteMan series, the actual MinuteMan series. And we have been working on the foundation of the MinuteMan series in the last 3 videos, and will probably be this video and maybe one more. We're putting the foundation down so that you have an understanding of what's going on and what you need to do, and the differences between an irregular force and a regular force. Okay, so we talked about all of this. I'm not going to rehash everything every time, but we talked about all of this, which falls under the umbrella of government regulars, right? The government. Okay, these are the things that the government is doing against the people now and in the future. Okay, this is what they're using against the people now and in the future. It could get to a point. It could get to a point where they get beyond these alphabet agencies that they've armed up, like the IRS, because everybody's at this point here, everybody stopped paying property taxes and so on because they can't, because they have been pigeonholed into digital currency, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be part of that system, and they're going to revolt against that. Okay, and so that's why they use these agencies against the people. Oh, you're not paying your property tax, so we're going to have to evict you physically, right? So they send people. There's a conflict. There's bloodshed because it was time to go into action. Mary Jane saw what was going on at Joe Jim Bob's house across the street. She called up all the Minutemen. It's going down. Get over here now. Mobilize now. Be here now. Okay? And then Joe Jim Bob's compatriots showed up in force and wiped out the offenders, right? And then that happens all over the place. It's going to start happening all over the country. And then they're going to the tyrannical government, okay, the OPFOR, right? That's the opposing force, right? Your opposing forces is going to be the government. So they said, well, those 80,000 IRS agents just didn't cut it. The militarized police forces, that didn't cut it either. So they're going to ignore this. We all know it because they ignore this daily. They don't care about this anymore. They haven't cared about this for 100+ years, right? They're going to send the military. Next up is the military. Now, either number one, they try to send the military and the military refuses. They might. I don't have a whole lot of hope for that, but the military is now full of leftist idiots, okay, and weirdos. There are still some regular people in the military, but those people will, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a question mark situation about the military on this. Now, I know that I would not go against my countrymen. I would not. But there are people in the military now that would blow you away in a second. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube and other places that, you know, I remember watching some weird leftist woman in the military. She said, oh yeah, I'll blow them away. You know, no problem. So those unhinged people in the military, we cannot discount that. Now let's say that the U.S. military does not come against the U.S. people. Let's say that they don't. That they decide to bring in UN peacekeepers, right? And of course, war always attracts mercenaries, contractors, right? So may not be guys from the U.S., but it may be contractors from other countries try to come in. And of course, you got foreign armies, foreign invaders. That's always a possibility, like in the old Red Dawn movie back in the 80s, right? So you got all of these things to think about as just a regular old person who works a 9 to 5 or is a homesteader trying to live their life the best they can in peace. And then you got all of this crap that they're going to try to sling at you, and they're slinging it at you now, but it's like, you know, you're doing that Matrix thing, and the crap is flying past you, right? And that's right now with the cyber warfare. It's going past me right now. I'm not going to do digital currency. I don't care what they say. I'll fight tooth and nail to the death, okay? And not doing digital currency. I'm not going to be engaging in their social credit crap. No, you know, I probably got a 0 social credit score if they have it in place and I'm on it, right? I probably got 0. Man, that guy is a troublemaker. Yeah, you know what? I'm a free person, and I'm going to stay free, you know, and that's it. That's all there is to that. Okay, so we talk about, let's talk about specific things here. Let's talk about your home guard, the MinuteMan. A MinuteMan would be, if you look in the term of warfare, a MinuteMan would be an irregular, okay? An irregular. And then any soldier that is backed by the government is considered a regular. And the difference is that they have a logistical support system. They have an infrastructure in place to support the soldiers, the boots on the ground. Whereas these guys may not, okay? They may not. The Minuteman may not have any kind of a support system. It's going to be tough. You might have to be your own logistics, okay? You might, okay? You might have to be your own. There's a lot of guys that live in very free states, which, you know, I'm envious of that. They live in very free states right now, but those will be on the forefront of the battle to come because they will be targets. Those red states, they will be in the sights. Okay? They will be in the sights. Now, when we talk about a Minuteman, right? A Minuteman engages in guerrilla warfare. All kinds of appellations will be attached to these people negatively. And we're talking, they will call you a terrorist. Okay? Because that's what they do. And the reason why they do it is because when you look at the people as a whole, okay, you look at, let's say you look at me and you look at the person across the street, okay? The person across the street is not engaged in protecting themselves and their freedom. They're just trying to keep their head down and their nose to the grindstone, earning a measly income to buy food and exist, okay, and comply with the system, with the credit system and with the digital currency. They're people that do not want to fight back against this, right? So, but then you have people like this, the Minuteman, who are not going to comply. They're not going to keep their head down and nose to the grindstone and the 9 to 5 every day. They're not going to do that. They're going to fight against tyranny. Okay? But see, sometimes my brain just doesn't work right. I was going with something and I forgot what I was going with. So you're going to have to bear with me for a minute. So, we talk about appellations, right? It's something that they, you know, it's like a sticky note. You put a sticky note on them and you label somebody something, right? That's what that is. So these people in the government will say, those people are the MinuteMan. Those people are terrorists. They're not freedom fighters. They're terrorists. You know. So what they're trying to do with those appellations like that, those names that they put on the MinuteMan who's fighting for freedom, they're trying to turn that guy across the street against them. Do you see what I'm saying? So they're trying to manipulate the minds of the average person who doesn't want to fight back, who just wants to like get by and, you know, and not be involved, so to speak, right? They're trying to turn them against the freedom fighters. But see, the thing is that the MinuteMan will eventually need the support of the guy across the street, because, well, you just do. You gotta have the support of the people. That's that whole hearts and minds thing, you know. You gotta win the hearts and minds of the people when you go into a country and say, we are fighting for your freedom against your government who is oppressing you. But in this particular case, the government who is, I know that this is getting very confusing right now. The government who is tyrannical, they're trying to turn the MinuteMan's countrymen against him. So they're trying to win the hearts and minds of the average Joe Blow, and the MinuteMan is trying to win the hearts and minds of the average Joe Blow. Eventually, some of those people who are kind of in the middle will have to choose one or the other. You know, they'll be basically forced into it. I know that you'll have to dissect that later. If you have questions, email me. Alright, so, what is a MinuteMan? So, rather than write it all down here on the whiteboard, I just printed it up. So, a MinuteMan would be a person who is possibly a member of an irregular military force operating in small bands in occupied territory to harass and undermine the enemy. Okay? To harass and undermine the enemy. Okay? Yes, the enemy at that particular point in time would be the government. So the government has decided to go ahead and go against the people, and the people decided to not have it and to fight back. And that's what the MinuteMan does. And I'll go on and I'll say a MinuteMan is a soldier in a small independent group fighting against the government or regular forces. Okay? Generally by using surprise raids, ambushes, and so on. Okay? And when we speak of guerrilla warfare being a form of unconventional warfare, right? This is what they used in the first revolution. You know, they talk about Rogers Rangers, right? Rogers Rangers, and they had they said, well, You got to be like the French and Indians. You know, you attack at these particular times, whatever. I can't remember about that, but you guys can look it up. It's a list of things, you know, something to look up. All right. So in that first revolution, the George Washington and all the colonists, they were guerrilla warfare fighters. They started out, and well, I'm running out of time.